Hello again to my amazing fourth grade artists and every artist that's joining me for this video. It's me, Mrs. Pendleton, aka Miss P, your art teacher, signing in to say hello and to let you know I love you and I miss you, and I hope that you and your families are doing well and finding great ways to take care of each other and stay creative. Welcome back to my channel. You know, if you've been following me, all of my lessons for our distance learning projects are being posted on this channel, and I'm doing some instructional videos to help you along. So whether you've had your hard copies or whether you've been downloading my lessons from Teleschool or from other digital sources that have been provided from our school site, I'm here to help you along and give you some extra guidance. And just, you know, I just miss teaching you guys. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget to click and like and subscribe and share this channel as much as you can with other young artists that might need a little extra guidance during this time, okay? So we're gonna have a quick review of the vocabulary from last week, a quick review of the procedures, and then we're gonna go into the next steps to finish this project. You guys hopefully remember that we've been working on interiors and especially emphasizing overlapping depth and distance. And we're gonna talk a little more about that when we go into the project. Are you ready? Let's do it. First, let's go over the vocabulary we talked about last week. We talked about interior, which is the inside of a space. We talked about overlapping. We did some drawings with some furniture in front of other things. Overlapping is when you draw something in front of something behind it. Foreground are the larger items that are in the front towards the bottom of your paper. Middle ground, sometimes things get a little smaller as they approach the middle of your drawing. And the background, those are all the things that fill up the background or the empty space behind the other objects in your artwork, okay? Distance is something we talked about related to size, because things that look farther away, we draw them smaller. Things that are closer, we draw them larger, okay? The standard that we're working on is VA4, CR1. That's Visual Art 4, creating. Standard 1, engaging in the creative process to generate and visualize ideas by using subject matter and symbols to communicate meaning. So it was up to you to decide what items you wanted to put into your interior. You could have things that meant something to you, specific piece of artwork or certain objects. You can include certain symbols that represent part of who you are or parts of your family or things that you just enjoy. Okay, so we did this part together last week. We talked about this horizon line here, a low horizon line for which we would start drawing our doors. It would be the basis for our wall, and it would let us know where we could start drawing items or pieces of furniture in front of other items, okay? And then we had this bottom space here where we were starting to think about how we're going to fill this floor space and what we're going to put in the foreground, and also thinking about how we're going to draw pieces of furniture or the items that overlapped other things. Remember, the requirement is for you to show me at least one example, but of course I prefer more. So if you can't do it, but please show me at least one example of overlapping. That means you do one object on top of something else. So this awesome table I have here is overlapping the floor. This window that I have here is overlapping this elephant. And remember, another thing or another suggestion was to draw something surprising outside that you might not see on a regular basis. I decided to draw an elephant because it'd be pretty surprising for me to see an elephant outside of my house right now. Okay, so if you still need some more time to finish your drawing first. But the next part, I'm going to show you how to add color to your space. You have a couple of different options that you can practice with adding color. One, if you have crayons or colored pencils, I suggest those because they don't go through the paper like magic markers or paint. So for example, when we start to add color, if you remember, always start with the largest background space first. So let's see, my walls in my house are actually kind of a gray. So I'm going to just add some gray. It's actually a bluish gray. So what I'm going to do is start with some blue. Start with some gray really quickly. And it's okay for me to leave a little bit of white space right here because I'm going to be adding some more color. I'm going to be doing some blending with the blue so it's close to the bluish gray walls in our house. Let's get this blue here. And if you notice, I'm pressing pretty lightly so that it blends a little easier. You don't see the crayon marks as much. I'm pressing very lightly with my crayon. Makes it look extra smooth. But that's what works for me. You're the artist. You figure out what works for you and what feels good for you when adding color. This is just my suggestion, and like I said, it works for me as the artist. I wanted to make like a bluish gray wall. Cool. Let's see what else I can add. I would like to give myself like a dark blue windowsill here. Now, what'd be interesting is if you decide to make your interior monochromatic. I don't know if you guys remember this word, but I hope you do. Monochromatic means one color. So let's say I decided to make a monochromatic room. I would find all the different blues that I have available to me. Even blue-green. And I would use those different blues in different parts of my picture. I know this is a little purple, but it's indigo, which means it has a little blue in it. It counts. And I can change the value or the lightness of darkness of my crayon coloring as well. So let's say I took the same indigo and I press really hard. The value of the roof is darker than the value of the sky that I use for this color. So if you want to be adventurous and try that, go for it. I'm using a slightly different blue here for this other part of the windowsill. I'm making my picture or my artwork monochromatic, one color. So even though I'm using different tones and values of blue, I'm still using blue. Do you have to do this? Absolutely not. You can use as many different colors as you like. Just incorporating a little bit of extra and older prior knowledge vocabulary. I think I'm going to add a little bit of gray for this elephant because I want to. Most important, what I'm looking for in this project, when you turn it in, feel free to send me pictures, email me, is that you are demonstrating knowledge of drawing an interior. That's something that's inside. You're thinking about things that are inside of a space, and that you're demonstrating the knowledge of foreground, middle ground, and background. Things that are in the front of the drawing, things that are in the middle, and things that are drawing smaller in the back. You're showing me your understanding of distance, which means the things that are farther away are drawn smaller. And you're showing me your understanding of overlapping. You're able to draw one thing on top of something else. One thing in front of something else. Now, if you don't have crayons available, if you don't have colored pencils, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to add some color with a pencil. Remember the word value. Value is the lightness or the darkness of the same color. So if I don't have crayons or colored pencils, I can always use my pencil to add some color or to add value. I change the value or the lightness of darkness of my pencil based on how hard I press with the pencil. I'm pressing pretty lightly right now because I have a large space and I don't want to expend too much energy adding some value to this space or adding some color to this space. However, I can take my pencil and press really hard and make the door frame a slightly darker value. If you notice, I'm not holding my pencil straight down, I'm holding it on a slant like this. It makes it a little easier and makes the pencil a little smoother. Therefore, make it a little easier to press harder and change the value or the darkness or lightness of the color of this pencil, which is great. So don't worry if you don't have a whole bunch of colors around, if you have one color around, if you have two crayons around, if you just have a pencil around, if you just have a marker, you can still do this project, I promise. I'm gonna add a slightly darker or medium value here. I'm not pressing too hard. And like a super dark value there. And another light one here. I think I'll do another one here. Now remember guys, if you're using pencil, make sure you erase the lines that are behind the things that are overlapping other things. I couldn't do it because I was using pencil. I was using markers so that you could see it a little better. And I think I add a little color to my doorknob. And I think I'm gonna make this a window frame over here. Remember, it's never too late to go back and add something. So, what do you think? So this is my finished interior, okay? So I went through and I added color. Try to make sure that when you're finishing your work, you're adding more details, as many as possible. Think about the things that might mean something to you as you add symbols, exciting things that are going on in the background, okay? And try to remember, try not to leave any white spaces or empty spaces, okay? Every space needs some sort of color. Even if you use white as the color, feel free to use that, all right? So when you finish your projects, please make sure you email them to me through our Fulton County address. Feel free to drop them off in Teams, ask your parents to send pictures. You guys have a lot of means to get in touch with me and stay in touch with me. So I look forward to seeing your work, and I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget, if you got a hard copy or if you saw the lesson plan online, you know that an additional part of the project would be to, one, write about whatever it is that's going on or happening in your interior. Talk about the things that you decided to put in your interior. Let me know what they mean to you as well. If you have internet access, and if you're watching YouTube, that means you do. Feel free to do a little more research on the vocabulary words and share with me what else you learned about them as you find out more about them on your own. Okay, guys? Now, fourth graders, be on the lookout for a bonus video that I'll be sharing with you later on this week about 1-point perspective. But we'll worry about that later on in the week, okay? Check back in and let me know how you're doing. Guys, I love you and I miss you. I can't wait to see you and your artwork. And don't forget, even when you're at home, please be nice to each other. Practice self-control and keep finding ways to be creative. This is Miss P signing off. Thank you again. Thank you for your subscriptions, your likes, and for your views. And keep in touch. I love you and I miss you and I hope you all are well. Bye.